To our adventurous summer readers, the first grade team and helpers from Jerusalem Elementary are continuing to read from the book Summer According to Humphrey. We will read Chapter 6 titled Cabin Fever. We hope you are enjoying your book. Chapter 6, Cabin Fever. The dining hall emptied as quickly as it had filled up. Some of my old friends, like AJ and Miranda, tried to come up to say hi to Og and me, but a few shrill blasts of you-know-whose whistle kept them moving. I looked around at the empty tables, the overflowing bins of trash, the stacks of dirty trays and dishes that a teenage boy and girl were collecting. What next? I asked Og. Og was silent. I guess he was a little confused about what had just happened and what was going to happen next. So was I. I hopped on my wheel for a little spin, and I started thinking of that song that went, chew, chew, chew your food. That's getting me thinking about food. So I hopped off the wheel and rummaged around the bedding of my cage to see what I'd store there. I found a bit of crunchy carrot, which kept me busy for a while. Once the teens had gotten all the dishes out of the dining hall, it was quiet again. In the far-off distance, I could hear voices singing. I couldn't catch all the words, but Happy Hollow kept coming up.
Then things weren't so quiet anymore. I heard the patter of soft footsteps running, which soon became the clamor of loud footsteps coming closer and closer. The door to the dining hall slammed open, and AJ rushed over to my cage. "We won!" AJ bellowed, even though he was slightly out of breath. The guy still had an amazingly loud voice. "You get to stay with the Blue Jays tonight." He did get a chance to explain because the door slammed again. Miranda rushed over to Og's cage. "Og, you're going to be a robin tonight," she said. Our cabin was the neatest girls' cabin. "Well, ours was the neatest boys' cabin," AJ said. He grabbed my cage and whisked me out of the dining hall. "See you soon, Og," I squeaked back to my friend. "I hope."
The Blue Jay's cabin was just like the robin's nest, except the curtains were blue plaid. Each bed had a pillow and blanket on it, and at the ends of the bed were large trunks. Clothes were hung on hooks around the room, and it was extremely neat. There were boys sitting on the beds and trunks. Some of them I recognized, like Richie and Stop Giggling Gail's brother Simon. Others I didn't, but they all jumped up when I came in and gathered around when AJ set my cage on his trunk. "Listen up, guys. This is Humphrey. He was our class pet, and he's amazing. So we've got to take good care of him, and we've got to keep this place neat," he said. "We want the Blue Jays to rule, right?"
They all agreed. "I'll go get him some fresh water," said Richie. Me too, Simon shouted, following Richie outside. I soon found out the bathrooms, the showers, and the water fountain were outside the cabin instead of inside. I was lucky to have my water and poo corner inside my cage. The other guys in the cabin seemed nice and welcoming. Then a face appeared close to my cage. "Why is it such a big deal to have a hamster in your cabin?" he asked. "I have a dog, a gigantic dog." "Wow," said Richie, who was putting the fresh water in my cage. "I was thinking that I never want to go to this kid's house, ever." "My dog can do tricks," the boy continued. "Oh, so can Humphrey," AJ assured him. "Yeah, I saw him. He stayed at my house," Simon said. "My dog is really smart," the boy added. "And he's got papers. He can read?" Richie was clearly impressed, but the thought of a dog reading made Simon giggle, just like his sister Gail.
The boy frowned and shook his head. "I mean, he's pedigreed. He's like dog royalty. He has papers to prove it." "His pet has peed." AJ burst out laughing, and the other Blue Jays got to hooting and hollering. I chuckled too, even though I knew the guy had said pedigree. The laughing annoyed the boy with the dog. He flung himself on his bed and sighed. "How did I end up here?" he asked, if no one in particular. I was beginning to wonder the same thing. I was even beginning to think this Blue Jay was not a very nice kind of person. "Blue Jays rule," I squeaked without even thinking. and Richie exchanged looks. What's your name again? AJ asked. Brad, the boy answered. Things got quieter in the cabin. AJ came over to my cage and whispered, Show him what you can do, Humphrey. He didn't have to ask me twice. I climbed up my ladder and leaped onto my tree branch. I landed pretty hard, so I had to hang on tightly as it swayed back and forth, back and forth. Once I had my bearings, I climbed up to the highest branch and reached up to grab the top bars of my cage. Very carefully, paw over paw, I made my way across the top of the cage while the blue jays were watching.
All except Brad, who was reading a magazine. Look at him go, AJ said. Are you watching, Brad? Richie asked. Brad pretended to be too busy to notice. I took a deep breath, dropped down from my ladder, and jumped onto my wheel, where I immediately began to spin. The cabin mates all clapped and whistled. Hold it down, guys, Brad said. I'm trying to read here. Admit it, Brad. He knows a lot of tricks, AJ told him. Lots and lots and lots, said Simon, jumping around my cage. Brad glanced up from his magazine. That's a trick? I could almost feel AJ getting hot over Brad's bad attitude. He strolled over to Brad's bed and said, You know we're going to have to compete in the Clash of the Cabins. So what's your sport? Clash of the Cabins? He had my attention. I don't know. Brad looked a little worried. I guess I'm okay at all of them. Good, AJ smiled. We'll need your help. He swiveled around. How about you, Simon? Simon wrinkled his nose while he thought. I'm the best burper in our class, he said proudly, and then he let out an ear-splitting but impressive burp.
Everybody giggled, even me, though I know it's not really polite to burp. It can be funny. What else? AJ asked, still laughing. Simon thought for a second. I never did archery or canoeing before. I'm a good swimmer, though, and I can dive. Great! AJ and Simon exchanged high fives. And Richie likes volleyball, right? I've got a pretty good serve, Richie agreed. Well, then it looks like as if the Blue Jays rule, AJ shouted. He said it again, and everyone joined in, except Brad. My old camp had a high dive. Really high, he said. This place is dinky. I saw AJ clench his fists, and I have to admit, I felt my paws tightening up. Luckily, just then the door swung open. Never fear, 'cause Aldo's here, a voice called out. I thought Aldo had probably come in to clean the Blue Jays' cabin, just as he'd clean room 26 every night. But I was wrong. He wore his Happy Hollow shirt and shorts and carried a clipboard. Listen up, guys. It's almost time for lights out. That means no more talking, okay? Before you go wash off, I just want to go over tomorrow's schedule. I kept spinning while he talked about canoeing and swimming and archery. Then the boys got ready for bed.
Just before Aldo turned off the lights, he said, No more talking until wake-up call tomorrow morning. Sleep well. He reached for the light switch. You too, Humphrey. Then it was dark in the cabin and quiet. Before long, I could hear the boys breathing quietly, the way humans do when they're asleep. I was just about to doze off myself when I heard that sound I'd heard before. Skitter, skitter, skitter. Scritch, scritch, scritch. The same sound I heard back in the robin's nest. It wasn't a human type of sound. It was a different kind of sound than I heard in room 26 and all the houses I visited. It was a wild sound. And maybe, just maybe, it was following me. I was awake for a long, long, long time. Note to self, humans who brag are not pleasant to be around, especially one human named Brad.